request that everybody except the Board of Selectmen keep their microphones on mute unless you're ready to speak. So I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the Board of Selectmen meeting for May 5th, 2020.
I will second that motion for you.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the acceptance of these minutes? All in favor of accepting the minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting from May 5th, 2020, say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes. I'll make a motion that we accept the Board of Selectmen special meeting minutes from May 13th, 2020.
I will make that motion. Oh, I will second that, sorry.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes from the special meeting? Hearing none, all in favor of approving those minutes from May 13th, 2020, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that motion passes. Okay, and we received some correspondence from the state police. Is there any other correspondence that either selectmen have received that we didn't know about?
I have nothing.
Nothing.
I will move to agenda item 3, selectmen's comments. I will open this up for Ken or Suzanne. If they have any selectmen's comments.
I don't know that I have a selectman's comment.
Ken?
The only thing that I have, I did attend the last MISRAC meeting, and there was a document in there about response from the town attorney about the request of the developer.
Yes.
Concerning, and that was the first I had seen or heard of it. Was from that meeting. Was there anything that was sent to us as the board, so that way we could review and get some input on that?
No, I will absolutely forward it. I only forwarded it to the MISRAC committee, but I will certainly forward it. I haven't heard anything additional, Ken, but I will be sure to include both you and Suzanne on the future plan that comes forth from the attorney.
Yeah, what did the developer request? Did he send something to you in writing or anything?
He did. He sent it in writing, and I can send that. I'll forward that also to you.
I would appreciate it.
Absolutely. Any other?
I have nothing else.
All right. So I have only 3 comments tonight. The first is that it is EMS week. EMS week originally started by the American College of Emergency Protection in 1974. Being EMS week, I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to all of the EMS community for your bravery and willingness to protect the health, safety, and well-being of the residents of Thompson. Thank you for your selfless dedication, and truly, our EMS workers in the town of Thompson are selfless, and they're dedicated to the roles that they play. My second comment is in regard to the long-term recovery planning committee that we had formed. There was a survey put together, and we formulated it specifically for the Thompson residents. The goal is to gather information to guide our townspeople to the best available resources for post-COVID recovery. The survey is intended to identify how COVID has affected residents and where gaps might exist. We want to help make residents whole again after this crisis is over. So I'm encouraging all residents to go to our town website and find the survey. Take the survey. We really value your input, and we want to know how COVID has affected all of our town residents so we can act appropriately to help. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up, it's more of a political thing. I was truly angered by Governor Lamont's actions when he effectively pulled the rug out from under the feet of local salon owners. These are people's lives too, and these are people that intended to open tomorrow. And with a 2-day notice, their plans were disrupted. And I just personally think it's wrong, and that was a statement that I felt I needed to make, because their lives matter too, and their livelihoods matter. And another 2 weeks is a lot to ask. They were fully prepared to reopen, and a lot of them took the steps needed. And I just think it's a shame, and it was something that I felt I needed to express. And that's all I have.
Amy, can I just say that I was very upset as well? About the salon not opening, I had a long discussion with somebody who was opening a salon tomorrow, and they worked tirelessly to get it ready, to make sure they were following the guidelines, and to not have it open and the fact that they've been struggling financially without their income. So I echo that. Can I also say thank you for bringing up that it's EMS week, because my daughter would probably not forgive me if I didn't acknowledge community ambulance and all the above and beyond, and for all of them for staying strong and going out and saving lives every day as they do. So thank you for bringing that up. I would have regretted not saying something.
Absolutely, and we are truly grateful for the work they do for us.
Absolutely.
I will concur with that. Having been myself involved with it, it is a very selfless thing that they do to give us the service that we do, especially during these times of need. So it is a heartfelt thank you for everything that they do. The other thing is, you said that the governor did a couple of days before the opening for tomorrow, I guess. Were you able to reach out and express your concerns to the governor's office by any chance?
I didn't, but I guess I should have.
That would be the, yeah, that would be a good place to start.
Thank you. I will make sure that I do that. All right. And at this time, I think we'll move on to agenda item 4, which is citizens' comments. Feel free to unmute yourself and speak, or if you want to speak, just hit the chat button and I can unmute you. Or you can put your message in the chat box and I'll read it off for you. So does anybody have a citizen's comment at this time?
This is Steve Herbert, 122 Wilsonville Road. Can I speak?
Yes, absolutely. Go, Steve.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment about your meeting, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, where I believe another citizen of the town said that you'd been accused of misconduct of some sort or other. He might have been referring to me, because I was the one that had called you and suggested that there might be an issue with your company supplying meals to poll workers. And I think hopefully I came across as saying there might be an issue here. I know there's nothing intentionally involved here, but I did bring it up to you, and I suggested that we take a look into it so that there would be no intentional violation of the ordinance. So that was my intent. If it was misinterpreted, I apologize for that. But I certainly did not accuse anybody of doing any sort of misdeeds or anything. And I'm not sure whether Frank was referring to me or not, but if he was, he's just wrong. You know, I really felt a little bit insulted, maybe is the word. And again, Amy, I don't know if you felt that way, but my intention in talking to you several weeks ago, just in private, the two of us, was to bring up the issue and make sure it was properly addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And I have a message in the Zoom chat. Dick Trudeau, 192 Wager Road. Do you plan to read the correspondence from the state police? What other details surrounding the MSRAC correspondence? You know, this isn't like question and answers. It's for citizens' comments. But I will say that what we get from the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection are generally the number of accidents, investigations, burglaries, larcenies, etc., traffic citations and written warnings. It's just a listing of those, which I would be happy to post on to with the minutes of the meeting. I'd be happy to share that. In regard to the MISRAC correspondence, at this point, it's really just negotiations and requests, and nothing is really firmly, there's nothing that I could share about that at this point that I know of. So I'd be happy to just double check with our attorney on that and see if there's something I could share with you, Dick. And any other citizens' comments? Okay. All right. Hearing and seeing no more comments, we'll move on to agenda item 5, which is discussion and possible action of permanently waive ordinance 10-009 on purchasers or providers of election services. And I'm going to defer this a little bit more to Frank.
Yes.
If you want to share with us, I know you had sent us that detailed letter. And yeah, if you want to just share your thoughts behind that, since the request is being made from you and since the ordinance states that if a request is made of the Board of Selectmen, that we can entertain waiving the ordinance.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Chairman. First, let me state in reference to Mr. Herbert's comment that strict reading of the ordinance indicates that indeed there is a conflict of interest if a member or employee of a town board or commission has a financial interest in providing goods or services to the town. Whether or not Mr. Herbert brought that to our attention is probably immaterial. It was worth bringing to our attention, and that's why I have requested this waiver. So, Mr. Herbert, I would apologize for any discomfort that this episode may have caused you, but I think you and I are in full agreement that there is potential for conflict, especially in strict reading of the ordinance. So, Madam Chairman, the request has been made that providers of goods and services for elections in Thompson be waived from imposition of this ordinance. And one of the reasons, as discussed previously, is that it would severely limit the number of election workers available, especially certified moderators, to the point that would seriously threaten our ability to conduct elections. So the request is made, and we would ask your favorable ruling on it.
And Frank, as far as the unfavorability, just so that I'm clear and I understand, there are certain poll workers and moderators, if I get the term correctly, that may also be an elected officials or employees of the town as well, or help me understand.
Or be members of the Board of Selectmen like myself.
Right. That might work the polls and get some type of a stipend.
Exactly. And according to strict reading of the ordinance, that would place them in conflict of interest.
Right.
So we're asking for a waiver, even though imposition of that ordinance would probably be over scrupulous. Technically, those persons should be waived from liability of conflict of interest, because clearly there is no conflict of interest. The election workers don't designate themselves. Mrs. Witkowski is the Human Resource Department for the Board of the Registrars of Voters, and she chooses the election workers and does a very nice job of doing so, and is probably severely limited in many instances by insufficient availability of workers.
And not to make this too complicated, but you had also cited in your letter that there's a section in the Connecticut statutes that say a board, an elected board cannot judge necessarily another elected board. Am I understanding that correctly, or?
Uh, There, that's pretty much the gist of it. Yes, Madam Chairman.
So here it was, it said, Connecticut General Statute 7-148B, Ethics Commission Establishment and Powers. Interest in conflict with discharge of duties recognizes the potential problems involved with local boards investigating other local boards for ethics violations.
Yes.
Which brings to question whether or not the ordinance is even valid without an actual ethics board being assigned.
Exactly.
So it would be, according to the statute, the ordinance doesn't work because we don't actually have an ethics board that's separate, non-tainted, that's not part of another board already.
It would appear to be so, yes.
So maybe the ordinance was written wrong and needs to be reconsidered altogether.
Well, I wouldn't want to get to rewriting ordinances. I'll just abide by this one, which allows for waiver, and I'll consider my request granted if I can get a waiver for election workers. And I'll leave ordinance rewriting to the ordinance committee, and I'm sure they'll do a wonderful job if they undertake it. And if they don't, I would say we can live that way.
Right. So now we go back to the board. It's difficult because it's very legal and it's not, I don't know.
What don't you like about it, Madam Chairman?
I'm fine with your request because it says in the ordinance that the provisions of this ordinance may be waived by a unanimous vote of the full Board of Selectmen in appropriate circumstances wherein the board determines that the waiver is in the best interest of the town of Thompson. And the written request for the waiver, an explanation of the circumstances, and the vote of the full Board of Selectmen shall be entered in the minutes of the Board of Selectmen as a public document. So it certainly gives us the right. So, I mean, do we want a temporary waiver? Do we want a 5-year waiver? Do we want?
Well, we've asked for permanent, Madam Chairman, permanent waiver.
Help me, board.
I'm in favor of it, but I'm feeling as though I should abstain.
But we can't because it has to be the full Board of Selectmen.
Okay, I have no problem. I don't feel that I should be making the motion or seconding it, but I have no problem voting in favor of it. And I think the election, I think our registrars do an amazing job. And I think that, I know they scramble for workers, and it's a long day. There's no, the pay, you don't do it for the money, that's for sure. And there is training involved, and that has to be done on a regular basis. So having that inside scoop on that, I sympathize with and understand the situation that they are faced trying to man these polls. So I wouldn't want anything to stand in their way of having, having our, the appropriate amount of people that are mandated at the polls.
I have no problem in waiving the conflict of interest with any of the referendums, going forward from here, because like you said, they have a difficulty finding personnel to do that. When you're talking about an election and somebody being on the ballot, you could possibly run into a problem.
You cannot.
Well,
Work the poll and be on the ballot.
It's against the law, Ken.
Excuse me?
It's against the law, as Suzanne just pointed out. You can't appear on a ballot if you're
Correct.
If you're working at a poll.
Yeah, you can't be on the ballot. That
Right.
You get the 75-foot rule and all of those things that are involved. So,
Right.
but waiving the poll workers, and that all comes down to, for the referendums, and you'd be looking at the state and federal primaries, where you're not looking at a local election. This shouldn't be a problem.
Right, right.
Well, with all that being said, I make a motion that we permanently waive ordinance 10-009 on purchasers and providers of election services. I have a motion.
I'll second that for the workers and based on what the town attorney had submitted to us at the last meeting.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of permanently waiving ordinance 10-009 on purchasers and providers of election services only?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. And now I'll move on to agenda item 6, other business. Is there any other business that the board wishes to take up this evening?
I don't think I have anything.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Hearing none, move on to agenda item 7, citizens' comments. Are there any citizens' comments? You can put in the chat box. You can unmute yourself. You can raise a hand.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
on behalf of the citizens of Thompson, thank you for your wise decision on this matter this evening. Appreciate your understanding and cooperation.
Thank you. And what was your name, sir?
It still is Francis McGarry. I reside at 225 Chase Road in the wonderful town of Thompson.
I needed the address for Dottie.
I gave it to you.
Thank you.
Been there for 50 years.
All right. Any other citizens' comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll move on to agenda item 8, which is tax refunds, and there are none.
Ooh.
That's good.
I'll hear a motion to adjourn. Do I hear
So
one?
moved. I'll
Second.
make it.
Okay, Suzanne, you got the second?
I got the second. Ken got the
Motion and a
motion.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.